Are you tired of sitting on the sidelines of your own life? Have you been waiting for someone else to give you permission to share your gifts with the world or to do anything at all? Then this episode of Irresistible You Ignite Your Passion and Purpose is for you. I'm your host, Karen Seltz, and it wasn't that long ago when I was hiding. I was sitting back, I was in a coaching program for entrepreneurs, and there were so many people that were showing up. We had a Facebook group, we had a coach, we had coaching calls, and there were so many people that were showing up and they were passionate about what they were doing. They were taking up space, they were raising their hands, they were posting, they were trying things out without having them be perfect first. And I was sitting in the background comparing myself. Have you ever done that? Like looked at somebody else and said, I could never do that, or I could never be that bold or that courageous, that confident, whatever it is that you tell yourself. Well, that was me. That was me, I guess, about 4 years ago. I was already a coach, not a very successful one, but I was calling myself a coach, right? So if you are in that place, just know, man, I get it. I get it. And it's painful. It's uncomfortable and it's painful. And this has been a theme over the course of my life, which is why I chose this episode, is give yourself permission to be the authority in your own life. And what I mean by that is don't wait for someone else to give you the authority. And I have another example of that. So I coached in a transformational leadership program for a little over a year, 3 different classes. And when I was in the rooms, it was all done on Zoom. When I was there as a coach, I had this mindset, like I have the authority to coach these people. It's been given to me by someone outside of me. And I talk about this a lot, like looking outside of ourselves for anything, validation, love, approval. But I was operating from this place of I have the authority in this room. And then I would go out in my real life outside of that room, and I would forget. I would forget to give myself permission to be the authority. Even, in my own business, I was wishy-washy. I couldn't choose a niche. I couldn't choose a platform to go all in on, like Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And I was just everywhere. I was like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping something would stick because I was not giving myself the permission to have authority. Well, let's fast forward. I just busted myself in this very same thing recently in something else that wasn't business. I'm like, oh, interesting. There it is. I'm going to talk about this. And one of the main reasons I chose this topic is because I just posted on my Facebook group, I'm offering 5 scholarship programs to my brand new beta coaching program. That's not perfect. I've never done this program before. And I'm offering 5 scholarships to it. And the comments coming in are, I don't know what I want to do yet. And that used to be me. So I'm afraid to do anything, or I think somebody else is more deserving if they have more clarity. Well, bullshit. Bullshit. You don't get clarity in a vacuum. It doesn't come inside a little box. You get clarity by taking action that works sometimes and that doesn't work most of the time. And then you adapt it. You're like, what worked? Well, it worked that I took action, right? And that I got clarity on that particular direction isn't exactly what I had in mind. And when I use this messaging or this languaging or whatever it is, it didn't get me the type of clients that I wanted. So let me try this instead. But it gives you some clarity on which direction to go. But you got to take action, even if it's imperfect, even if it's messy, even if it will not yield you the result that you really want. So I got stuck in that cycle over and over the course of my life, that if it's not perfect, I'm not going to put it out there. Or if I don't know exactly, I don't want to spend a lot of my time working on it. So what did I do instead? Procrastinated, wasted time, did nothing, and had nothing to show for it. So if you've ever done that, just know there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing. You get to be supported. That's a big thing when making any change like this, is really giving yourself grace, being gentle with yourself and saying it's okay. You would have done better if you knew better and you didn't. So a lot of times what we do in life is we keep trying to get something. We try to make things happen, or we try to create different results in our lives, and we keep using the same tactics over and over, and they don't work. Yet it's the only thing we know. So we keep trying it over and over and over and thinking we're doing something different, or that keeping busy makes us productive. And it doesn't. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about like some heart-centered ways to really get off the sidelines and get in the game. Get in the game. So what would it be like for you if your wildest dreams were met, were manifested right now? What would it be like? So if it were a year from now, and this had been the best year of your life, who would you be? Like, how would you walk? How would you stand? How would you, what would you feel? I always think about, what people look like in the face. Like, what is their expression? Do they have like RBF, resting bitch face, like, are they clenching? Are they contracting? Or are they open and expansive and joyful and light? So 1 year from now, you are the person you want to be. You have created the impact, if that's what you're here for, that you want. You have the amount of money you want in the bank account. You have the relationships you want. You live where you want. You have the pets you want, whatever it is. I don't know what lights you up. I mean, it could be any of those things, could be all of those things, could be none. I don't know. But whatever lights you up, what is it? And what did you have to do to get to that place? And I bet you it starts with making a decision that you're going there. So you're here and you want to get here. You must give yourself permission to want that, to know that it's possible for you. And I'll tell you this, it would not be in your head or in your heart if it weren't possible for you. We live in a kind universe. God is kind. God would not put that in your head or in your heart if it weren't for you. So wrap your head around that for a second. If that were not your destiny, if it were not possible for you, of all the infinite possibilities that exist in this unlimited universe, that is one. And it's one that your consciousness has selected. You and your higher self have selected that potential for you. And that is your target. Now, what do you get to give yourself permission to be and do to get there? You don't have to know how. If you are here and you're focusing on, oh my gosh, I'm so depressed, I'm so confused, I don't know what to do. You notice my hand. You are revolving. You're going around the same orbit over and over and over. We keep doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. And that, that rotation digs us in a fucking hole. We get in a rut and we're going to fall out the bottom. We don't stay there and stay like numb to it. Usually we usually get lower and lower and lower the further we get from our purpose. So what I am here to do tonight is to light a fire under your ass and say to go for it, because you cannot get here by concentrating on being here. You get to start looking at this. You get to start acting like that now, like your highest self. How does she hold herself? When she walks into a room, what do people feel? What is the energy within her heart? What is her motivation? Because for me, it has always been to create an impact. And when I was so scared about being rejected and judged, I was making it all about me. I can't create an impact. You can't create an impact if you're worried about how you look. You can't. You get to let it go one step at a time. So it's baby steps. Take a baby step. Do one thing. Post somewhere. Do a video. Do whatever. Do something to get out of your comfort zone. Do something that this person would do. What would she or he do? What would they do? Do that. Do that now and quit screwing around. Give yourself permission because, as I said in my post, you are the author, the actor, the director, the producer and importantly, the casting director of the entire movie of your life. And you get to cast the next remaining chapters, the rest of them. You get to direct them. You get to write them. So be creative, have fun with it, write it, and then practice it. Mentally rehearse it every night before you go to bed. I want that to be the last thing that goes through your mind before you go into dreamland, because your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what it is seeing in here and what it's seeing out here. It doesn't know the difference. It is completely objective. So you get to prime it. You get to tell it, this is what I'm creating, and live that way now. And by that, I don't mean, yeah, if your vision is to be a millionaire, I don't mean go buy an airplane, or, don't spend money, you know what I mean, on ridiculous things. But you get to live as if you have the freedom to do that now. Because usually what people want with money is freedom, freedom to do what they want when they want to do it, for whom they want to do it, right? And you get to be generous now, as if you have that much money. And maybe you start giving, 10% of whatever you have, whatever it is. If you have $10, give $1. It doesn't matter. As long as you're giving and being generous, you're going to create that. Give yourself permission. So I get really excited about this. Give yourself permission to be who you came here to be. And you already know what it is. You already know. Some of you have heard this story before, but several years ago, maybe 5-10 years ago, I was cleaning out a jewelry drawer that I never ever use. I just throw stuff in there. And I was looking for something, I don't know. And I found in the bottom of this drawer a little note card like this big, a 3x5, and it said, I am an inspirational public speaker making a huge impact in the world. Hello, Lola. Well, guess how much speaking I had done up until the point I found that card? Goose egg, 0. I did 0 because I couldn't figure out what I had of value to share. Well, I created some. I stopped looking at myself. I started looking out there, like what would serve somebody today that I could share. And I started practicing. I made a commitment to do Facebook Lives. And I didn't say how long they had to be or anything like that, but I made a commitment to do them for a month every weekday. And they were sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 15. And as I was getting ready, I would think, okay, what would be something I could share that would be of benefit to one person, just one person. And I would share from the heart, and it wouldn't be prepared. I'd be doing my hair and like, okay, yeah, that's a good topic. What are 3 things I could share about that? And I would, write down my 3 bullet points and put them in the description. And then I would just talk. I would tell stories. I would share my experience with a topic. And I got used to speaking. And I loved it. What a surprise. Not really. It was on that card. So look at the clues. What did you want to be when you were little? Or when you graduated from college, or when you started college? Look at those things. And then what happened to your dreams in the meantime? Did people squash them? Did you squash them? Because I know I did. I know I thought, I kept hearing these voices of authority figures in my life, like, who do you think you are to want to show up like that? Who do you think you are that people would listen to you? And I took my own authority away. And it's interesting, I was talking about the leadership program I coached in. When I had the authority, man, did I show up. I was a powerhouse, and I wouldn't allow people to put me down or to take power from me. I was powerful and I was empowering. My power, how I was showing up, was giving others permission to do the same thing. I wasn't overpowering. I was showing up in my power, which meant it was coming from my heart. It was coming from love. And people felt that energy and they started to show up. And there's nothing more beautiful than that, than making an impact for me. And I had to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be unliked, because some of the things that I got to do coaching, people didn't like me in the moment. A lot, frequently, a lot. And that was okay. I was okay with that because I had their best interests at heart. And I had a conversation with my hot Pilates instructor the other day. I said, this is a great exercise, being in getting rid of the people pleasing, because to be a good exercise instructor, you cannot be worried about people liking you, because I tell you what, she pushes us so hard, and many people are cursing her under their breath. But afterward, we're all so grateful that she pushed us that hard, because guess what? We all made it. We all did everything. Like, there were many times I thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm dying. I'm going to fall down, because it's not a normal Pilates class. You know, she had us on our tippy toes doing frog squats and all this weird stuff. But anyways, we all finished. We all walked out of there, more or less. Some of us limped a little, but we made it. So a good coach or a good mentor is not worried about being liked. That might happen later, but in the beginning, it's not really, for me, it's not a priority for me to be liked by people I'm coaching. That's not what I'm here for. I am here to hold up a mirror, like, this is who you really are. This right here is who you are. And this is my experience of you right now. This is how you're behaving. There's a distance between here and here. How can we bridge it? Right? So we get to look at those things. If you are heart-centered or mission-driven, you're here for a purpose. Give yourself permission to shine. Give yourself permission to be seen. Give yourself permission to be heard. Give yourself permission to be loved exactly as you are. And I want to talk about that, because for me, my definition of being loved and accepted means I am showing up 100% authentically, which means the stuff that I don't think is lovable about me, I'm sharing. Because if I'm holding that back, people can only love the version that I'm showing them of me. It's not real. If I'm showing them the perfectly coiffed, this one, with hair and makeup done, and the one who speaks without saying and or has all their shit together, that's not real. I get to show up in those moments when I'm falling down, when I don't look my best, when I'm angry, when I'm sad, when I'm feeling depressed, and show people those parts of me, because they're just as lovable as the other parts. Take that in. And as long as I'm holding that back, somebody has something on me and I don't feel completely loved, because there's always this voice in the back of my head that says, well, if they love you now, but if they knew that about me, if they knew that about you, they would leave, they would reject you, they would say bad things. So I'm not saying, like, go scream all your secrets from a mountaintop or a rooftop. Mountaintop, maybe, nobody's going to hear it. But from a rooftop, I mean, you don't have to tell everybody everything. You don't want to vomit and because that doesn't feel good. But the people close to you, you get to tell them those things that you're scared to tell them. Like, and tell them, I'm really scared to tell you this because I'm afraid you're going to reject me. I'm afraid you're going to leave me. I'm afraid you won't respect me anymore, whatever it is. But tell somebody. And when that person accepts you, it's a freedom like no other. It is a freedom. And then you give yourself permission to do it again, maybe something a little bigger next time, and then bigger, and just keep going bigger. Keep giving yourself permission every single day to show up, to suit up, to get on the field, to get off the freaking bleachers, get in the game, because you are here for a purpose. Nobody else has your purpose. No one else has your dharma, which is your purpose, your book of life, the thing that you uniquely are here for. Nobody else has it, only you. And those little things that come in, like, oh, I really should do this, or I want to do this, or I could see myself there. I think I could make a big impact. Those are coming in for you. For you. There's nobody else that can carry out that mission on this planet in this lifetime. It's for you to do. So do it. Do it. Get some accountability. Get a friend who's in a similar position and hold each other accountable. Cheerlead each other, push each other, kick each other in the butts when you need it. But start. Give yourself permission to share your gifts, to live your biggest life, and to be that person. Remember, the one that's 1 year from now who's kicking butt and taking names or having an impact or whatever it is for you. Give yourself permission to be her or him now. Don't wait. Don't wait. And also, one of the things that's really important is to lead with your heart. Get out of your head. I'm doing this abundance program right now, and one of the meditations really hit me, and it was to be aware. And I'm like, oh, that's up here. To understand, oh, heart, and to know, which is like our gut or our womb space. So to be aware, to understand, and to know what you're here for. And ask. Keep getting quiet and asking your higher power, God, universe, source, spirit, whatever it is. What would you have me do next? And just listen. I met with my accountability buddy today, and she said, you know what I said? This gets to be easy. I want it to be easy. She was in meditation. I'm like, oh, that's so simple and so profound. How many times do we want to stay busy so we make it hard? Or we don't think we deserve for it to be easy, or we don't think it's worth anything if it's easy. But what if we just leaned on God, universe, source, spirit? We just lean on that relationship. Say, I want this to be easy. Guide me. Make my way easy and smooth. Open the doors for me. Close the doors you don't want me to go through and open the ones you do want me to go through. You get to be the authority in your own life. And I really would love to hear what you're creating. What is in your heart? What's your dream? Because you get to do it. You get to do it. And I am having I'm starting a brand new beta coaching program. It's going to be 11 weeks. And I'm offering 5 scholarships. So if you want one of those, email me a short video that says, what's the number one thing you're struggling with or what's holding you back? And number 2, what's the thing that you really think I could support you with? And just email that to me, Karen@KarenSeltz.com by tomorrow night. And I'm going to pick 5 scholarship winners for my beta coaching program. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be 11 weeks. I'm going to support you. We're going to learn. We're going to have Q&A. We're going to practice. I'm going to use a lot of neuroscience. We're going to wire some things into your brain and body. Because I think what's most painful for people is seeing where they are now and then seeing where they want to be. And then they're in this gap, comparing themselves to this ideal. And that doesn't get you there. So we're going to rewire the brain to support these new ideals, these new behaviors, these new whatever, the new identity of who you are already, but who you've forgotten. So it's going to be a really beautiful way of stepping into your future. And it's going to be easy. It's not going to be hard. It's going to be easy. You're just going to step in. You're like, wow, feels like I've always been this way. That's what happens when you use these neuroscience techniques that I have been trained in for 15 years or so. Oh, longer. Time flies. Yeah, it just feels like you've always been that way. So you get to remember like, oh, it wasn't always this easy, but it gets to be this easy. So if you want one of those spots, just email me a quick video and I would love to have you. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. Have a beautiful week.